sci-fi series, and if you dare disagree, into space you'll be beamed. With ship models built like cheap toys, and a French captain with a British voice. Though production quality was quite low, I'll always love this iconic show. Now I'll make you love it too. There's not a thing you can do. Assimilate into the Trekkie cult. Tell them it was export's fault. Resistance is futile at best. Never lost a Trek trivia contest. Get ready for nerd rage. It's Trek Tuesday. Engage.
Kapla Warriors. Today is a good day for leftover pizza. Anybody else having leftover pizza today? It's possible I ate all my pizza between yesterday and today. But Costco pizza is the best. Like, how can I not do that? So I thoroughly enjoyed that. Had a pretty good day at work. This week has been the best week since my concussion. I'm feeling so much better. Cam props, you definitely fooled me. The only word in that I didn't understand was teapot. I was like, I'm a little, and I was like, that can't be teapot, can it? Then I was like, oh yeah. Today, continuing DS9 Part 3. I mean, Season 3. I guess it's technically Part 3 as well, because it's my third installment. Also, give me a second, what was I gonna say? Shoot, I forgot. Oh well. Lady Nagin, there's nothing sad about that. I was originally a Star Wars fan more than a Star Trek fan. My fanship of Star Trek became more intense as an adult. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. Maybe another hand cam stream sometime, maybe next Tuesday, or maybe when I finish DS9, because I did not finish showing you guys all my Star Trek memorabilia. Maybe I'll just spend the hour going through all of it for anyone who didn't see that other Saturday, because I have a whole bunch of stuff, including some DS9 specific. Right now, my teeth are really bothering me because I was using the water pick, and I used the water from yesterday, so it was cold, and I'm sensitive to cold, and so it's driving me crazy. So if my talking sounds a little weird, it's because my teeth are driving me insane right now. It's very uncomfortable. Anyway, so tonight the the impression poll will be coming out to select who I will impersonate, do the impression of on Friday. Last I checked, Sugar was in the lead, so I must prepare my vocal folds. Sleepy, I don't have a life-size data yet. I mean, mostly because, you know, I live in an apartment and I share it with a roommate, so I can only take up so much space with stuff. Can't buy, as I was saying the other day, no more plushies. I'm out of plushie space unless I find something really good. So, we'll see. So uncomfortable. Anybody else sensitive to cold? And before I begin the new streaming schedule, so Monday, oh, sorry, my throat. Monday's Gaming Day, Tuesday Trek Tuesday, Engage. Wednesday class, so different topics. Probably have voting on the topics in the future. Like, I'll give like a couple options of things I'm up to, like I'm knowledgeable and not enough or willing to investigate. Thursday's gaming, Friday impression Tuesdays. We also talked about, yesterday we were talking about the possibility of Mondays once a month being like a food stream day. So we did pizza yesterday. Maybe next month we'll do tacos. Figuring that out. Oh man, KMN props, is that really true? It's really from the sour candy? That's crazy. Ugh. I don't have a Dado body pillow, but I do have a really cute t-shirt based off of the poem that Data wrote for Spot. Love it. Okay, and Lady Naggin, sorry, that's who I was gonna respond to. Yes, I will be doing that tonight, probably. Oh, my teeth. It's crazy, it was like 10 minutes ago, and it still is like, not stinging, but kind of like aching. All right, Ncha. So, season 3, episode 1. I'll go over 1 and 2, I guess. This episode, okay, so this is the search. So season 2 ended with, the whole Jem'Hadar introduction, right? So season 3 opens up. A couple interesting things here. These 2 episodes only, Dax has a new hairstyle. It's so, like, matronly. I think that's why they decided not to keep it, as it's kind of Janeway-esque. And it's like this low bun. It's just for these 2 episodes, and she has like a, what do you call it with the big puff in the front? Like a pompadour or whatever they call it. You know, Snooki style. Anyone who's old enough to remember that? So that's very weird. And then, yeah, the search is interesting. The search starts off with, they are establishing... Oh, this is a good... I just remembered part of this episode that I was forgetting about. So the search. They go into the Gamma Quadrant, and everybody basically goes, including a Romulan. So they... the Romulans have basically formed this temporary partnership with the Federation and presumably the Klingons as well, where they will allow them to use cloaking technology, a Romulan cloaking device on the new ship, the warship, officially a combat ship, but only with a Romulan present, which they eventually drop because that's too inconvenient. And so the actress who plays this Romulan is the same that plays Seska on Voyager. She's definitely good at those characters. So they go on the Defiant, the new battleship. And so, they go into the Gamma Quadrant, and then... I can't remember precisely what happens. I guess they come and the Dominion fights them, because they're looking to find the Dominion, find out more. They want to find out who are the founders of this Dominion, because they refer to the founders, or like the great overlords of the Dominion. They're like, who is this? Who are they? And then, do you guys like my Batman voice? And then, stuff goes bad. Chief and Dax go missing. Everyone's, like, evacuating. And Odo evacuates with Kira. And he follows, like, his instincts to go to the, like, Onarius belt. Is that right? And... Sorry, I'm laughing at your guys'. Where's Rachel? Where are they? Martha. And so... Odo arrives at this planet... and meets, OMG, more changelings, including the lady changeling, who we will be seeing a lot. Funny thing about this lady changeling is the first time I watched DS9, I was like, oh my god, because the lady changeling is definitely the same actress and looks almost exactly like in that TNG episode where they find the people that were the genetic source for all humanoids in the universe. Like, if you go back and watch that episode, the end of that one, she looks exactly like that. It's clearly the same actress, but the face and everything looks just like it. So the first time I saw this episode, I was like, holy shit, the changelings were the source of all genes in the universe? But then they didn't do that, so. Just a coincidence. Tom Paris-style coincidence. Yeah, I totally agree, Charlemagne. I'm like, wouldn't that have been such a great tie-in? But I assume for, royalties reasons they didn't do it. So Odo's like, OMG, my people, yay, so happy. And we get to see Odo's first O face, which I would have been fine with never seeing again. Because when Odo and his people link, it's extremely sexual and uncomfortable every time. Don't want to see it. Which, that's a whole separate stream we have to do somewhere else that I can get out all my thoughts on Odo and his private life, shall we say. I have a lot of questions and thoughts on that. So anyway, and then Kira's like, I'm gonna try to contact the others and see what happened. Well, eventually they find the others. The others are in prison in a cave. Okay, the best way I can describe, they're in prison in a cave on the Changeling planet. And they're all living in a simulation at the time where they think other things are happening. So long story short, the Changelings are the founders. And Odo's devastated because he basically just found out that his people that he's been searching for so long are like evil fascists, basically. I'm totally with you there, Charlemagne. He should have ended up with Luoxana, but that'll be an Odo-centric stream. And then also important to mention that while Cisco and the rest were in the simulation, they thought a bunch of other things were happening, which, important to mention because Admiral Nechayev, the GOAT of admirals, is in that episode. So I love that. She makes her appearance again. She's one of the most frequently used admirals, not evil, and she's used across 2 series. I don't know if any other admiral can say that. And so basically the Changelings put them in the simulation to live out because they wanted to see how the Alpha Quadrant, the Federation essentially, would react to being subjugated, basically. And they're like, dang, so they're not gonna go easily. They're not gonna submit, basically. And that's pretty much the end of the episode. They let them go home. Odo's devastated. And yeah, we've had this big question that's been around since season 1, right? That's when they first mentioned the founders. So I don't see how that's a hard choice, Lady Nagan. I mean, I think you know in your heart. So, this episode's really important. I would not S tier it, but I feel like this is A tier. I don't think it's the best of the best, but it's pretty damn solid. Like, again, it's got what TNG doesn't have, which is a lot more follow through on plots, you know, and the not less episodic quality. So it's pretty freaking satisfying and really sets up the season for like, oh my god, I gotta keep watching. Oh gosh, did you guys hear that? Solid A. Yes, this is a very solid A. I'd even say high A. It's a really good start to the season. Oh god, here you go. See, here's a picture. This is really important for you guys to see. Let me see if I can, there we go. Okay, I did it right. Odo having his special time. Okay, I will say one thing that's really gross about the Changeling is they established that they're all one person, but also many people. So you get where I'm going with this, right? Like, if they're one person, but, okay. Anyway, that's all for now. Uh-oh, I zoomed out too much. Yes, House of Quark. I love this episode. It's not like an S tier episode in the way these ones are, but it's a funny one. It's kind of like, what's that other one that I love? But there's like, well, I know another one in DS9 that I love, but I'm trying to think of a funny TNG one that I love that's just funny. But this is one of them. And it's one of those one-off episodes, but we do see this woman later on, Grilka. She sounds like a Viking, right? Yeah, it's a funny episode, Charlemagne. So, it starts off with Quark's having a slow day at the bar. This Klingon who's drunk gets aggressive and tries to unalive Quark, but in return, he trips and falls and unalives himself. But Quark wants a good story to tell, so instead he tells everyone that he unalived a Klingon, which a Ferengi doing that to a Klingon is like a huge deal, right? And so he tells that to get people to come into the bar, customers, and people are like flocking in, and Odo's like, yeah, I don't believe that's what happened, but okay. Then this other Klingon shows up and is like, he was my brother. So, did you really unalive him? And Quark's like, no, I didn't. He's like, oh, so really you're telling him he died without honor? And Quark's like, oh, wait, so yeah, I did do it. He totally died with honor, yay. But then this lady, hot lady Klingon, comes, and she's like, you unalived my husband? And he's like, yeah, sorry about that. And then she's like, prove it. And then she's like, you didn't. So anyway, more than you guys needed to know. So, basically, she takes him back to Kronos, which is the Klingon home planet, because because her husband died in honorable combat, his house and like lands and money and everything is gonna go to his brother, his estranged brother, and she loses everything. So she instead marries Quark and has Quark claim his lands as the person who unalived him. So yay! And Quark is like, oh my god, what's happening? And then they're like, all right, fine, we'll let you do that. And then but then they figure out a way. Quark proves that the Klingon was was using money. I can't remember, what was it? How was he was doing something with the money. Oh, so Quark is like, Dagor, the brother, is where'd it go? Financially scheming to take over the house. There we go, that's the word, financial scheming. And then Dagor challenges Quark to a duel. And Quark's like, OMG, OMG, OMG. And so they go to duel. But then Quark very bravely stands up and he throws his bat'leth away. And he says, if you know I have no chance of beating you, so if we fight, it's just an execution. So if that's what you're gonna do, go ahead. And he just sits there. And then Dagor goes to chop off Quark's head. But then Gowron is like, have you no honor? Are you really gonna really unalive this Patach? And so he's like, you're a terrible man, Dagor. You clearly have no honor. So Grilka wins the day, yay! And Quark is free and divorces Grilka. And yay. And, also some marriage problems between the Chief and Keiko, but they always work it out because they're a great couple. They love each other and they work hard. I'm gonna say it's A tier because it's a funny episode where it's meant to be funny, but it's not super obnoxious like some episodes where they're like going for funny and instead it's the worst. This, I believe, is the episode that I hate. Yeah, I don't like this episode. This episode stresses me out. So Dax starts having these like hallucinations, and it starts out with like music and this song that she can't get out of her head, and she starts having like these aggressive outbreaks. And they're like, what's going on? And then she like goes into a coma. So they have to take her back to the Trill homeworld. And they're like, what's wrong with her? And they go and they visit these nasty little underground pools where the symbionts live, which is disgusting. And then eventually they're like, we don't know if we can help her. But what happens is Cisco and Bashir undercover a conspiracy. Yeah, Charlemagne, it's spooky. It gives me the creeps. Because she's having all these like memories and hallucinations. Cisco and Bashir discover the reason she's having hallucinations and like basically like her brain is like shutting down is because she has repressed memories from an additional oh my gosh, host before her. Before Curzon, right? So Dax was supposed to be like the 5th or 6th host. So when the host, the humanoid Trill dies, the symbiote is taken out of their stomach and put into someone else's stomach. Yes, it is horrifying. So she was supposed to have gotten, it was, oh, sorry, my throat. So I think it says, does it say the order on here? Order of her hosts? They're always stating the order of the hosts, but I can't remember. So, and then each host has the memory of the previous hosts. So she has the memory of all the ones before her. Except turns out she's also got repressed memories of someone who they tried to erase. Because they put the symbiont in him, and he, like, was a crazy person who unalived somebody. So then they had to take the symbiont out of him, which unalived him, and they put it into Curzon Dax, and then after Curzon, it went into Jadzia. So basically, these memories are resurfacing, and they're unaliving her. And so they're like, okay, well, the only way for her to survive is if we just give her back the memories and see if she can take it. But giving her back the memories is a huge risk for the Trill community, the Trill culture, because that would be opening up the truth about how many people are compatible for our candidates for getting joined with the symbiont. Because they had always claimed like only 1 in 10 or something were compatible with having a symbiont placed in them, but it turns out it's much higher. And so they were trying to keep that a secret. So yeah, this one I don't love. I would say C tier. Like, it's a solid plot, but I don't like it. It gives me the creeps, leads to some creepy episodes later on. I don't like it. Next is an episode I love. This is a super good episode. Check this out. So Kira goes to like some conference or whatever. She doesn't show up. Or she's going to answer some questions for someone. She doesn't show up, and then she wakes up like this. She's a Cardassian, and she's like, what the heck? What have you done to me? And they're like, we've restored your previous face. You're a Cardassian who went undercover to help us fight the Bajoran, rebels. And she's like, what are you talking about? That's a lie. I was born, in the Dakor province to my father, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, nope, your name is Ileana. And you're actually a Cardassian. Yeah, Charlemagne, that's what makes this episode so good, is the first time I saw it, I was like, maybe? Because they, like, and then basically in the end, they kind of convince her that it's true, and she, like, has a breakdown because she has no, like, is fully convinced that she is Kira Nerys. But they're like, nope, that life was all a lie. So she starts to like crack because she's like, that can't be true. Oh my gosh. But it turns out it was all a lie because they were trying to use her as Ileana. They were trying to convince her she was a person named Ileana who was a real person who really did go undercover as a Bajoran. But she never came back. And so they wanted to expose her father as a member of the Cardassian underground, who's fighting against the Cardassian military government. So they were they knew he would be vulnerable because of his daughter, so if he thought this was his daughter, he'd do anything to protect her from getting tortured. And so... dissident, right. And then... but then they never... obviously, she never uncovers her memories. So she, with this guy... where is he? Nope, that ain't it. There's this guy. So, whoa! To Kenny Gamor. So that's this guy thinks she's his daughter, but she's not. And he's very sad, because he's waited and waited years for his daughter. But through this whole experience, they become close. And she's like, I think you're, a good man, and your daughter must have loved you very much. That's very emotional. And it's a good Garrick episode, too. Garrick, I don't understand. What are you doing with these people? Good shit. Now this episode is S tier. This is like classic. DS9 is awesome. I guess it probably was inspired by that episode with Counselor Troy, but they take it further. Super good. I love it. I don't mind some mystery. I just don't like spooky. Ooh, this is a pretty good one. Look at this thing. Yee. So, Rhino Face. They discover in some, not wreckage, not debris. What's the word I'm looking for? Salvage. This person sells Quark some salvage stuff, and in it is an infant. Is that supposed to be the infant? Yeah, there he is. An infant, and they're like, what's with this baby? Why is this baby in this salvage? But then the baby grows crazy fast. It's a Jem'Hadar! This is one where we learn a lot of backstory about Jem'Hadar. Let's see if I can find a good... Ah, look at that baby. Whoop, there we go. Whoop, okay, here we go. Where it be? Well, shoot. Okay. Well, this is where we learn an important plot point about the Jem'Hadar that I'll show you while I'm zooming in more. La la la. Okay, you see this thing here? So, the Jem'Hadar are genetically engineered. So, the founders are like master genetic engineers. And, Charlemagne, he buys stuff from that lady because she's hot. And, they have this tube that feeds this white substance, that they just call the white. It's, what do they call, but it's called not ketamine, come on, what is it, Charlemagne? Shoot. Anyway, so they're genetically engineered to require this stuff to survive. So they get regular infusions, but they have to get their infusions from a Vorta. So they don't have free access to this substance that they need to live, and it's essentially their nutrition source. They have to, like, earn it. Ketrazine, thank you. And so it's really sick what the founders do, and Odo feels really guilty about it. So he's like, I can teach him not to be a mindless unaliving machine. And they're like, okay, Odo, you can try. He does not succeed. They're like, sorry, we're gonna send him to the Ketracell. There you go. Ketracell wipe. And Sisko's like, we're gonna send him to the Federation so they can study him. And he's like, nope, I ain't going. And so he escapes, brings Odo. Odo takes him to safety. And, that's that. But Odo feels sad because he feels guilty about what his people have done to this species. And he's trying to basically undo it. I think I'm missing a plot point. Ah, yes, this is an important plot point. See, because Jake is a boy, he's a 15 or 16-year-old boy, it's okay for him to have a 20-something-year-old girlfriend, apparently. And, because he has this girlfriend who doesn't, there's no picture. Marda, who's 20-something, way too old, and she's a Dabo girl, which is like... I don't know a good way to describe that YouTube will like. She doesn't actually do anything. She just uses her sexuality to help people gamble. And Jake is dating her, so it's like crazy inappropriate. And she comes for dinner with Cisco, and yeah. That's when we find out that Jake likes to write poetry, because this is the beginning of the whole Jake's gonna be a writer plot. It's wildly inappropriate. But apparently not illegal. I know, Charlemagne, like, why did they make her 20? I mean, I guess the actress certainly looked like she was 20, but... You guys... Okay, so that episode, I need to rank it. Ooh, I don't know, Charlemagne... Kind of Gamma, yeah. Charlemagne, A or B? I'm not S-tiering it. I just feel very, strongly about what deserves S-tier. But I would be comfortable with A tier. But do you think it's B tier? I need Charlemagne's input here. Gamma, I read that as having 2 O's instead of 2 P's, and I was like, okay, TMI. Alright, I'm gonna go with... Alright, I'm going with A tier. Oh, B. Charlemagne says B. Hi B then. Because it gives us that backstory on the Jem'Hadar, which is important long run. And, whoa, get out of here. Sorry, the cat. And it develops Odo, getting him more rounded out. Which is funny, because he could be round if he wanted. This is a great episode, because it's got humor, it's got heart. How does it start, though? So Jake is working, he's like interning with the chief, and he and the chief and Cisco are working on some project, and they accidentally trigger an old Cardassian security system because the Cardassians used to have the station. And so the security system is one that gets triggered in response to a rebellion from the Bajorans. This is a great one because it's also birthed a lot of funny memes. Bajoran workers. Have you ever seen any of those, Charlemagne? It's so funny. I'm glad you're fine, Gamma. No odd times for you. Yeah, this is a great one. And then then it goes through basically the security system has like this series. So at first it's like Bajoran workers, give up right now. No point in wasting your lives. And they're like, okay, what do we do? What do we do? Because it triggers this station-wide alert. And it's like, if you don't, and so then Cisco's like, okay, well, I'll respond and say, this is the leader of the Bajoran workers. And it's like, okay, great, I'm glad you decided to surrender. But then, what does it say? Then it says, if the all clear is not sounded by the station security forces, gas is gonna fill the area. And so then they're like running, and try to escape. Then, there's this funny part where, Garrick has special security codes, which is giving us more interesting information into Garrick's background. He's able to come into, Ops, which is essentially the bridge of, DS9. And then Ducat comes and he beams himself into Ops and he's like, well, I could fix this all for you, but I'm gonna wait until you negotiate with me on some stuff. And then Ducat tries to beam away. I need a little theme that plays anytime Ducat is mentioned because he's my guy. And so Ducat tries to beam off the station, but then that triggers another response. And the response is, Ducat, we knew you'd try to escape and be a coward and abandon your station. And so now your controls no longer work and you have to die like a Cardassian. So then he's trapped with the rest of them, with the station like freaking out and trying to self-destruct and all this stuff. Because the station's gonna self-destruct if the Bajoran workers, quote, won't surrender. And then, what do they do in the end? How do they end up fixing it? Zooby zooby zoo. Trying to remember. Shoot, how do they solve this? Yeah, I remember that. I do not remember how they fix this problem, but they do. Suffice to say, they do solve the problem. And I enjoy when Garrick is making fun of Ducat. He's like, stop trying to flirt with Kira, you POS. And that is funny. It's funny and both the start of a plot point. Dang it, how did they get out of it? They disable something, you know, they're always fixing stuff. So this is a great episode. I would say A tier. Again, I covet DS9 S tier. Okay, Zephyr, I don't know what you're doing here then, bud. And then, so they, yeah, I would say A tier. Not S, but it's high A. They use the shields. Okay, yeah. I can never remember those little details on how they solve it. You know, they always solve it, right? Usually with like 60 seconds or less to spare. Okie doke. Zooby 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 zooby. Okay, I don't love this episode. It's not like a bad episode, but it's like too episodic, basically. Zephyr, I'm certainly happy to have a Star Wars stream someday. I'm a big Star Wars fan as well. So, this one is basically, anybody familiar with Brigadoon? It's basically Brigadoon in DS9. Oh, I appreciate that, Zephyr. And your friends love you. We don't all have to love the same fandoms. We're all united by, well, by Nikke, essentially, and other things. Yeah, Charlemagne, I agree. I don't like one-episode romance stories. That's the thing that drives me crazy about that episode with Picard and the, what's her name? Because I'm like, that should have spanned more episodes. So, like, one-off romantic episodes are just they're just fillers, is the thing. And so this one, they discover this planet that only comes around every 80 years. And in between the 80 years, it's pure energy. Oh, 60 years, my bad. Every 60 years it appears, and in between them, they're pure energy. And there's these people, and right out the gate, this guy is not subtle about his attraction to Dax. Like, the first thing he says to her is, how far down do those spots go? And it's like, bro, that's sexual harassment. Can you start off a little... Oh, speaking of sexual harassment, I think this is the first episode that, Jeffrey... Oh my god. He's like the GOAT of reused actors. Oh my god, Charlemagne, help me out here. Oh my gosh. Jeffrey... What's his name? This guy plays like a million characters across Star Trek series. Zachary Combs? Is that right? Zachary Combs? That doesn't sound right. Anyway, Zachary Combs is a side story in this episode. This character is trying to get a, quote, special program of Major Kira, a special holo program of Major Kira, which definitely would be illegal. I guarantee it would be super illegal, get you on a list to cross the quadrant. Anyway, so Jadzia and this guy fall in love. They're like, we want to be together. So they're going to try to figure out a way for magically be together. Obviously, it doesn't work. And so, yeah, bummer. Yeah, C or D tier? Probably D tier. Just in the scope of DS9 episodes. Which phrasing, KMN props? In the scope of DS9 episodes, it's D tier. If I were to compare it to like DS9, Voyager, and TNG all episodes, it would be B tier. But that's true, Charlemagne. He probably likes being on the list. What? I need to see. Sometimes the title's not enough for me to remember the episode. Sometimes it be. Sometimes. Oh shit! All right, Charlemagne. No comments. Anybody can guess who this is? Oh wait, don't look at the. Oh, I'm covering with my hand like an idiot, like you guys wouldn't be able to see. Scroll down. Who do you think this is? Hey, Josbert. Anybody guessing? While people put their guesses in, Zephyr, I'd be totally down to do a original trilogy Star Wars stream. Not like tier lists, but... Well, I don't know. What tier list would you do for a Star Wars stream? Milkman. Okay, not what I meant, but yeah. False. We made it up. Okay, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna reveal. This is not Commander... Okay, son of a bitch, it said right there. Damn it. Okay, well, anyway, this is not Will Riker that we all know. It's that second version of Riker. Go ahead, Charlemagne, you're free now. You're off the leash. Thomas Riker. So that second version of Riker that was accidentally created. So he's a Maquis, which is that Bajoran... they call them terrorists, but I would say rebel group. And so... I agree, Charlemagne, but they should have brought... Yeah, Warp Clone. They should have brought him back again. So basically, he tricks them all into thinking that he's Will Riker. Out of context, I don't want to kink shame. And then, he tricks them into thinking he's Will Riker. He's like, oh, let me see the Defiant. Let me see your warship. But then he's actually Tom Riker. Aha, see? I fooled you with my sideburns. Look, all he needed was some fake son of a bitch. Fake sideburns. Oh. Thomas is different. He doesn't have sideburns. This is very, like, Superman-esque. My glasses. So anyway, he stole the Defiant with Kira. Oh my god, Charlemagne, I could not agree with you more. The only explanation I can come up with is that there actually was no problem with each other, and that because you know how the chief walks out of the room and then he kind of looks back like, huh. My theory is there actually was no issue between them, but Thomas Riker just says that to like throw the chief off and get him not to say anything and to like confuse the chief, and so the chief is like, oh, okay, my bad. That's my theory, because it does drive me insane. Is sideburns a thing still? Out of context, it very much is on Bridgerton. Anyway, so he steals it and he's using it to destroy, obviously Cardassian stuff. And so then Sisko has to work with Dukat to try to stop Tom Riker, naughty Tom, from destroying stuff, but he's trying to reveal, what is he trying to reveal again? Blah, 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 blah. He's trying to reveal some secret thing the Cardassians have, basically. Out of context, maybe little ones, but not super heavy. Like, not ones that turn into, like, basically a side beard. So... Words. Anyway, Kira convinces Tom Riker to surrender, and they accept, the Cardassians accept the surrender, but they're like, we'll only let the other Maquis go if we get to take Riker. Which sucks, because Cardassians do not treat their prisoners well. And then Sisko's like, okay, you can have Riker if you agree to no death sentence for him. And Riker's like, that must have taken some doing. This lady's bad, can't you just tell? She gives off meanie vibes. Ah, cat. Anyway, oh yeah. Okay, so they totally should have brought him back. Because Kira's like, we'll come back for you, Tom. They should have brought him back. He should have been a recurring, Charlemagne. He's the master. He should have been a recurring character. They should have like gone back for him. Would have been an awesome recurring character. And they could have been they would have been a much better romance than Odo and Kira. Gross. They have no chemistry. It's so forced. They would have been a much more interesting romance. Like, I can't even handle the injustice. So, yeah. It's a good episode, but it's not my fave. It's B tier. I feel like it set up something that would have been really good. Yeah, he goes for it, Charlemagne. Because back in the day, that was okay, whereas now people would be like, she did not give consent for that, even a little. Well, no, if I'm being real, she made it clear she was attracted to him, but that's not enough. Not sufficient. At least he took his sideburns off. I mean, she doesn't want to be making out with his sideburns. Don't stop me now. Oh, this is an awful episode. Okay. Oh, yeah. Lower Decks. I saw that episode, and I am not recalling it. Okay, this episode is awful. So, the Waxana Troy comes on the station for the Bajoran Gratitude Festival. I need to get the star date for that so I can recognize that every year. We'll recognize that as a group. And it's just this awful episode where she has Zenki fever, which is something that middle-aged to geriatric betazoids experience, and so through her telepathic powers, she puts her amorous feelings towards Odo off onto everyone else. So then Quark starts going passionately for Keiko, and let's get some more of this horrifying. Jake starts hitting on Kira. Kira and Bashir go at each other. Dax goes for Sisko. Bareil goes for Dax. It's the worst. It's an awful episode. It's F. It's definitely F by DS9 standards. It's Charlemagne, you're totally right. It's like before she became a full-bodied character, but that doesn't sound good. It's the worst. I hate it. Zephyr, you got any ideas for what we could talk about on a Star Wars stream? What the topic would be? The guiding topic? Oh, this episode. Oh, this episode's a big deal. Okay. Some of you may recognize this because it has been brought up in, like, popular media recently. So in this episode, they're on their way to the Academy on Earth, I believe, and they accidentally get sent 300 years into the past, which was it 2024? Yes. So they accidentally get sent back to 2024. So this is a huge deal. It aired in 1995, so almost 20 years earlier. And so it's a bigger deal now because it's 2024. So like this episode's a way bigger deal now, I think, than it was 30 years. Sorry, my bad. Math is hard. Pictures. So Kira and Kira and O'Brien are trying to get them back into their time period. But meanwhile, back in 2024, where are all the pictures? Why are there no pictures? What the Okay, hold on. See if there's more pictures on this one. Oh, come on. No. No. Damn it. Okay. So they discover that, so they're back in San Francisco 2024. Fortunately, modern day San Francisco is not this bad, but it's not great. So people are living, Cisco and Bashir end up in a sanctuary city, which is basically for all the homeless, unemployed people. And it's like awful. It's like basically like the current worst parts of LA is all of the sanctuary city. And then Dax ends up in like the regular part of the city where the richer people live. And it's like really awful. And they've landed right in a super important time period. Erasmus, what up? And they've landed when there's a revolution, basically. And the leader of the revolution was Gabriel Bell. But Gabriel Bell, Gabriel Bell is basically like as important as Martin Luther King Jr. And so Gabriel Bell, though, gets unalived while defending Cisco and Bashir. So Cisco has to pretend to be Gabriel Bell and help start the revolution. So they have to take these hostages. Cisco helps protect the hostages, and then they basically give their demands, which is like, we just want housing and help finding jobs, and Dax helps them, and Dax's friend, who's basically like Bill Gates, or like, yeah, I feel like Bill Gates is the best example, helps her out, and they save the day, and the revolution all happens as it's supposed to, except now Cisco goes down in the history books as Gabriel Bell. This is an S tier for me, but I'd say A tier, particularly in retrospect because of how important it is now, because a lot of people were like, this is what aired and this is what they thought would happen and look at how we are now, and it's like, yeah, Charlemagne, this is definitely the best, one of the best time travel episodes. I would say The Visitor is the best, but that one doesn't really count because it's not really a time travel episode exactly. It's more time is actually passing. Oh, this episode does me a serious cry. Not this one. This episode is so sad. So I don't know if you guys remember that Major Kira's dating a monk, as one does. There's a shuttle accident. He gets seriously injured. It looks like he dies. Oh, nope. Dr. Bashir's a genius and brings him back. But he's pretty significantly brain damaged. So, yay, he survived. He survived. Yay! And Bareil was there with the new, the new Kai Wynn, who's like the Pope of the Bajorans. And she is there to negotiate, I don't know why I said that word so weird. Negotiate, what's the word for that? Oh my god. Negotiations for reparations. Woo. Yes, thank you, KMN props. Reparations. But really the head of the whole negotiations has been Barile, and Kaiwyn's not comfortable because she sucks at it. So Barile helps her, but it's straining his body too much. And so, but she keeps insisting on him helping her. He's like, I'm willing to die for this. So he keeps trying to help her, but slowly more and more of his brain dies and is replaced with a positronic implant, so similar to Data's brain, but not the same because he doesn't have the same, like, humanity of it. And eventually he dies, and it's super sad. And Kira, he's unalived there, and they're basically going to take him off life support, and so Kira's just telling him that she loves him. It's so sad. Not that bad, Charlemagne. It's I guess, is that C? I would say C tier, because it doesn't move the plot along a lot. No, okay, B tier. Low B. Low B. It's a very sad episode. Makes me cry and cry. This episode I do not care for. This episode, blech. So, okay, part of this episode I like, but most of it I don't like. Hey, Joshua. So, Kira and Odo are chasing some Maquis raiders on a moon. Kira gets trapped in this expanding crystal formation. So it starts out where it's just her foot trapped, but then it's growing up her whole body. And then when Kira is looking like maybe Kira's not gonna make it, Odo's like, I love you, Kira. I'm in love with you. And it's like, OMG. And there were hints about it. And it's like, blech. And then she's like, I love you too. But then Odo's like, that doesn't add up. I don't think you love me too. So he confesses his feeling. Look at him. Ugh. Angst. But because it turns out, it was the female changeling all along. She was trying to convince Odo that Kira loved him and then dies in the crystal formation so that she knows that Kira is what's keeping him from joining the changelings. So she tried to fake Kira's death so he'd leave and go with them. Not cool, lady. She does not have a name, in case you're wondering. But this is great Nog development. Nog finally starts to get more. Nog goes to Cisco and he's like, I would like to apply for the academy. And Cisco's like, it's not that simple. You need to be sponsored, and I don't think I'm gonna sponsor you. And Nog's like, well, I'm gonna convince you should sponsor me. And Nog works really hard, does a super good job, and Cisco's like, I still don't know about sponsoring you. Like, why do you want to join the academy? It doesn't add up. You're a Ferengi. And then there's this really emotional part, and Nog finally says, I don't want to end up like my father. He has, you know, he doesn't have the lobes for business, but he could be an engineer. But he's stuck as a bad businessman because he was born Ferengi and can't be an engineer. And, what does he say? I have my father's hands and my uncle's something. I don't know. So it's a really awesome Nog point where he's like, I want more than the life my father has. So it's pretty awesome. Nog. But yeah, this episode sucks. Except for the Nog stuff, so D. It's not F, but it's D. Yeah, the Nog plot is great, Charlemagne. Thank you, Joshua. I appreciate the compliments on both of them. Everybody remember, like Joshua, to carefully think and then vote for the Friday Impression stream. Stream on, stream on, stream until the stream comes true. That's hard to say. Is this the one I think it is? Yeah, this one's pretty meh. So, the Bajorians are really big Oh, wait, so you actually had milk and cookies out of context? I misunderstood. I'm jelly. That really makes me want some chocolate chip cookies and milk. So there's lots of Bajoran prophecies. They're always having their prophecies, but they're like interpreted in a variety of ways. So this Bajoran comes on board and he's like, the prophecy is gonna come to pass. The 3 vipers and the blah 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 blah. And then Cisco, 3 Cardassian scientists are coming on board to help with try out some technology and a comet and some shit. I don't know. And yeah, the Vedic Yarka, he's like, when the river wakes, stirred once more to Janir's side, 3 vipers will return to their nest in the sky. And so he's like, the Cardassians are gonna do something bad. But then as things go along with the Cardassians, this one gets the hots for O'Brien, by the way. And as it goes along, Kira's like, OMG, 3 vipers, just like the 3 scientists are the 3 vipers, OMG, OMG. Oh, I love Mexican sugar cookies out of context. Wait, which character? Milkman, I think my crown voice is kind of like that. It's a bit sillier. I lean into some of that stuff with her. Zabadoo. And so then, like, yeah, things continue to go along, and they're like, maybe we gotta stop this whole thing because of the prophecy. And this, look at this, it's the Sword of Stars. Just like the prophecies. I don't think I've ever had mint chocolate chip cookies. Do you make those with, like, Andes mints and then, like, put them in as the chips? Because that sounds good. But then, Cisco, he follows his guts, his instincts, and, something happens, and blah, 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 and the stars, something about, some stars end up being, the comet breaks into 3 pieces or whatever, and then it goes through the wormhole, and that makes it so the wormhole is, stabilized? What does it do? What does it, yeah, so it turns out the 3 vipers didn't refer to the 3 Cardassian scientists, but the 3 comet fragments, and, they end up having subspace communication through the wormhole. Joshua, do you mean, that first one of, with Chris Pine? That one? Mint green and brown swirl generally. Interesting. So yeah. And then you see this lady, she's like, yeah, if I had to marry a human, I'd definitely go with O'Brien. I would say it's D because it doesn't achieve much. And it's like, it's fine. Yeah, Charlemagne. I was gonna make a comment, but I don't want to offend anybody. Da-da-da-da-da. Always in my head. I hope I didn't drive out Zephyr. No, this is terrible. This is a terrible episode. Wait, something ain't... Oh yeah, okay. Got confused. So this is a terrible episode because it's a Negus episode. It's an Umox episode. You see here? Ah, God. You see? Yuck. Oh, I'm going slow as hell. I haven't made it through the... Wow. Shit, let me see. How many do I have left? Ooh, what's the end of season 3? Shoot, you guys. I just realized... Okay, there's no way I'm gonna finish. I'm sorry, you guys. Let me see. How many episodes do I have left in the season? I did not realize that much time had passed. Let's see. Season... Episode 17. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why does it have to do that? 5. Stop it. It hurts my brain. 6. Stop it. 7. My brain. 8. 9. 10. Holy cow. 11? Is there really? Okay, shit, we have 11 more to go. Okay, sorry guys. Gotta end here. Gotta finish up my night before work tomorrow. Have an in-person meeting because all those people who prefer in-person meetings have to ruin it for those of us who want to avoid being in person as much as possible. Remember to like the stream, please. Remember to vote in the poll. Seriously, Joshua, I was like, whoa. Remember to vote in the poll for Friday's stream. And I've got some new ideas coming, so keep your eyes and ears out for that. And then tomorrow, tomorrow, yes, so class with Dr. Export tomorrow, the House of Tutor, teaching you all about the House of Tutor, but in a compelling, interesting way. Everything you wanted to know, like yeah, okay. We'll get on it later. And then, yeah, after the tutor stream, I'll have you guys vote in the future on Class with Dr. Export topics. Cam and props. It was the way the website kept moving the page. That's what was making me sick. So, yes, in the future, we will vote on topics. For tomorrow, it will be the tutors because I am spending 90% of my time off Googling questions about the tutor era, and it is now in my dreams as well. I am having dreams about it. All right, everyone. Good night to all.